Hi and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to speak about learning how to respond and not react. So there is a difference between responding to something and reacting to something, and this is something that I'm always still learning about. A lot of us are, well, we are all often at times very quick to react to situations, circumstances, things that people have said or done to us. And reacting comes from the ego. Reacting is usually a trigger response of something that someone's done, said, or a situation that upsets you. And learning to respond comes from within the heart. And when you're responding, you're coming from a kind, loving, centered energy. And it's just responding to a situation with awareness and just with thought and just having consciousness around it and being conscious of how you're going to respond to a situation or someone or a thing. And how we respond rather than react. So I guess the first step is to be able to center ourselves. So we can do this with breathing techniques, the heart focused breathing technique from HeartMath, meditation, prayer. These are all ways that we can ground ourselves and to get to a strong and calm center. And then another step is to listen. So when I say listen, it's listening with intent. So listening to really understand the other person or the situation. And it's not listening so you can react to them or react to a situation. It's not listening so you can just interject in the first moment that you find. So listening is to just listen to what the other person says without any judgment, without having a reaction rise up within you, which is very difficult at times. But if you are centered and you have learned to center yourself, this does become quite an easy thing to do with time. And when you're listening, it's really, really hard sometimes, but don't respond. So just sit there and listen to what the person has to say. Or if there is no person present, just sit with the situation and just acknowledge your thoughts and feelings around it without taking an action of some sort. And also understanding. So try and understand the person. Try and put yourself in their shoes, put yourself in someone else's situation, and just see if you can understand them in this moment. And another good point, if you are with someone or the situation is with another person, it's always really handy to repeat back to them what you think that you heard, because we often find that, well, I know I often find that what I have heard, especially in times of a conflict or a difficult situation, oftentimes we hear our version of a situation, or we hear what we want to hear. So our ego decides what it wants to hear, and it pulls out the bits that it wants to hang on to from that conversation or from what someone else has said. And a lot of the time, what we hear or what the ego picks up is actually not at all what the other person is trying to get across or what the other person has said at all. So there is often a disconnect with what we have heard and with what the other person is saying or experience or trying to explain. So listening really is a great tool. It's the tool, to be honest. You really need to listen to what the other person is saying. And also observe your thoughts. So this also comes with practice too, because it's your thoughts while this other person is speaking, or other people are speaking, or even in the situation, your thoughts, your mind is going to be going at 100 miles an hour, trying to think of all the reasons why the situation is wrong, the other person's wrong, someone's done something to hurt you, someone's annoyed you, the situation's annoying, it's stressful, you're worried. And it's just observing these thoughts, and just parking them. You don't have to deal with those thoughts right now in that moment. So do acknowledge them, but just don't try and not to act on them. And just try and notice another perspective. So if a negative thought does come up, if you're not agreeing with what the person's saying, or if you're not agreeing with the situation that you're in, is there another perspective that you could look at in the situation? Observe your perspective and observe any other possible scenarios, or observe any other perspectives that are not your own. And then from these places, so when you're observing your thoughts, looking at other perspectives, parking your own thoughts in that moment, and when you're in a calm center, when you're listening to the other person, you're trying to understand the other person or the situation, from then you can make an informed decision about responding and about how you respond to the situation or the person or the thing. So if you are with a person or not, the first thing you could do is to give thanks. Give thanks to the person for expressing their views. Give thanks to the situation. Because in both situations, whether there's a person involved or not, there's always something to learn. So just give thanks for that situation and give thanks to that person for sharing whatever they need to share. And just also give thanks to what you've heard. So what you've heard in the situation may not be what you wanted to hear, and not what the ego wants to hear, but just give thanks in... Fuck, I've messed up the whole thing.